boss, he drops desecrated bracers. Then you go to the auction house, you buy the materials, and you have an item.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it works. Or, you know, you already have them, or the guild bank gives you the mats. That's kind of just like the gameplay loop for acquiring your tier 3 gear. And if you compare that to something like, well, in this other world, you get the tier 3 token, and instead of going to the auction house, maybe you go kill, I don't know, you need a freaking
It's like sulfurous
piece
or
of
thunder
wood
fury.
from an ancient tree in Hyjal, and then you bless it with an enchanter who gets blood from Onyxia, and then
It's
then,
sulfurous
like,
or thunder fury. It's
exactly, but these
somebody
like mini
farm,
chains,
somebody helping you
and
farm 100 Arcanite bars. You know, so.
and the key of this, I think for all your gear, this is too much work. Somebody said in the chat, but listen for a moment. Okay, this
Let them cook.
let me cook. This kind of structure puts you into the world outside of raid day. So you get your piece of gear. You now have a quest where you need help from your guild. Maybe you have to go kill a 5-man in Burning Steps, and you have to go kill a 5-man boss in EPL.
It's
And
like
if you're on a
the-
PvP
it's like the
server, this
0.5
creates
quest line.
friction. It creates a little bit of friction because these are going to be contested hotspots. And to get your gear, you need help. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that instead of just acquiring a piece of gear from a raid, you should get something that lets you make a piece of gear.
It also
And
makes it so that you don't want tons of gear right away because you just don't have the time to get it all, right? You're like, I'll take that, you take that, because I'm not going to be able to do 50 quest lines in a day.
yeah, and now I do think that you can't have every piece of gear as something like this, but I think that if you're going to add something like a token, you should add a quest instead.
I mean, it makes sense because, like, if people in chat are upset by that, like, what do you do the other 6 days outside of that raid anyways? Like, you have 6 days to do this awesome quest chain. Why would you be upset that there's more stuff to do after getting the gear? I don't want to get, I guess what you're saying, I don't want to get the gear and then it's like, okay, cool, upgrade. I'm going to log out now and I'll see y'all in a week. There's stuff to do in the other 6 days, maybe 5 if you're a 2-day raid team, if the raid's harder, to get that gear. I think that's a really, really cool idea.
It's also, if this is a permanent server and it's a permanent expansion, what's the rush? You know what I mean? Like have stuff be hard to get and take a while because, like, it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Versus like an expansion where it just becomes useless down the line.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the beauty of this different version of the game WoW has never really had. If that's the way they go. So we'll see. Okay,
I see
we should
people-
move on.
I see-
We're
yeah.
running out of time.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna skip the early game question, but how hard do you think the raid should be?
I actually think Heroic Lich King is my top end difficulty. Like Wrath
That's pretty hard.
raids. I think that's like how hard the raids could be at a maximum for me.
Heroic Lich King, up to now, week 1, is the hardest boss Classic has had. Harder than any mop, harder than anything in Kata. I would say by a pretty large margin.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's too hard, personally.
Well, this is so.
This is the
I was gonna say,
hardest, though.
That's the hardest I think they could
Yeah.
possibly develop something. If it's like a hard mode, they can't just make, you know, let's say Molten Core that level of difficulty. I think there should definitely be a ramp though over time, and I think that there should be some sort of hard mode, and I don't like heroics, but some sort of content that players who are easily outgrowing the difficulty of the content can opt into. And it's maybe not required, but it's something that, like, either it's some sort of facilitated speed run or some sort of like hard mode or some sort of like, and these things should give cosmetics or player character progression and investment rather than player power. So there's a very key distinction. As soon as you give player power to a highest difficulty, it becomes the mandatory. And you would find that with like let's say like you make 10-man knacks, heroic and normal. Nobody cares about normal. Everybody's gonna do heroic, and then they're gonna do 10-man heroic, and they're maybe gonna do 10-man normal for the first couple of weeks. But as soon as they don't need it, they're chucking it out the window, and nobody cares. And so like, I think that there should be some sort of stretch goals and player progression that kind of extend upwards towards like a Lich King level difficulty, because that's how you actually get a prestige in this sort of content. If you release something that's as hard as Kael'thas post nerf and you call it a challenge mode, it's not a challenge mode anymore. There's no, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be something that everybody unlocks.
I see a lot of chat too that says, hard content doesn't work with classic players. I think hard content doesn't work when it's already solved and you watch other people kill it when your guild's struggling. There's a difference between hard content and like hard and like not hard. Like I think certain things that people think are hard are not, but like when people use the database on Ironforge Pro where they see like, oh, well, you look at AQ, you look at tier 5, look at Ulduar, there's big population drop-offs. Like, sure, but there's a difference because you're watching other people, whether it's through Twitch, YouTube, or Warcraft blogs, have cleared the content, and you're wondering why you haven't. And there's also the aspect that it offers more player power, heroic, eye level, whatever, at least in Ulduar, right? But like you're saying, this doesn't offer player power. It's just a horizontal progression, right? It's some sort of cosmetic. It's not giving you more gear. It's not giving you better gear. It's something that's there to offer a challenge for those who want it, without making it feel required, because it's giving you better gear. The moment it's better gear or it's whatever, it's not an option, it's a requirement, like you said, with normal and heroic. But like, I agree with that.
But is it
something
like
yeah, no, yes.
we are a certain type of player, right? And I think there's a lot of people that will just do the normal because that's what they can do. Like I hopped into a random 10-man pug for Throne of Thunder. I was just shocked at the level of play, but they were having fun, and like, they just, it's not always about the way that we play. You know what I mean? And it's I don't know.
I think that I can say that as a streamer, I've experienced a lot of different people who play WoW in my chat, and this is just secondhand experience of what people like and don't like. But as soon as somebody gets something that another person can't acquire because of skill or difficulty, they're going to be upset. And there's obviously people who are going to mind their own business and they're going to play their game. And these are the people who play hardcore World of Warcrafts to this day, and they just level and they have fun. Or they're playing MoP and they log in to raid with their boys. And I think, unfortunately, the modern player base expects there's a level of expectation with classic World of Warcraft that the highest level of gear is achievable by almost everybody. And I think that's a precedent that's been set over time with nerf to tier 5, just like rank 14. There's a track record of this happening, that people get upset at something being too sweaty or too hard, and you can see it by people's reaction to how rank 14 got changed. They're like, I see so many people that are like, I talk about this rank 14 and they say these exact words. It's still a long grind though, and it's meaningful. And I'm like, yeah, but you shouldn't have it. Because I think that's the core problem, is that they're gonna make something that's like, oh, it's a hard mode, but then they 90% of player base expects to be able to complete that.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they feel almost betrayed.
And it becomes a requirement for other for groups. And
so I don't think that's how it should be, because you should be able to have like raids and gear that people realistically can't obtain unless they're trying really hard and it's their passion to play World of Warcraft. I think that there should be some separation between a casual player and a hardcore player in terms of the gear they can acquire. I just don't think it's realistic anymore. because of the expectations over time that have settled in people's minds that they can just do everything.
Yeah, I think the best version of a raid for Classic Plus to me is mostly easy, except for maybe the last boss or second boss. And then there is an artificial difficulty added with speedrunning. And maybe you even put a chest at the end of the raid that like has some cosmetic stuff like they did with Song. But like if you go fast enough, you get the same weapon but it's glows purple or something. And then like that adds that level of difficulty that you need to hit, but isn't required to do the same thing that the other guy, you know. And
yeah,
I think a good point you made was like people watching streamers, it makes the gear feel attainable, and then if they don't get it, then they're, you know, salty about it, and then they're like, I'm quitting, fuck it, if it's too hard.
The words entitlement, I'm not afraid to use it. Like it's frustrating.
Oh yeah, no, like I would say probably 50% of the player base is like omega entitled.
Yeah, 100%.
They're like, you know, like
it's frustrating because like it's like the argument will just go play harder content in retail, but it's like, but I like classic, you know. Like, and the thing is, when Molten Core was retail, it was hard. When all this content was retail, it was hard.
Retail. That's a weird
I'm
thing
just
to think about.
It's
No,
a weird.
I think that's a good point actually. This is something that we've kind of lost. Like these raids had a super low clear rate back in the day, and they weren't designed to be obtainable. They were just put in, and they were supposed to be pretty hard by the tuning. Honestly,
But when did you start
they
playing?
Just seemed pretty hard. I was playing in 2005, but I was like 8 years old.
Okay,
So I didn't actually start playing until probably private servers, and then I was playing on like buffed private servers.
I was playing in 2004. My guild got up to patchwork in max, and we thought we were the hottest shit, and we didn't even full clear, but we were like walking around. You know, Ironforge was the main city. Stormwind wasn't back then in 2004.
Yeah.
And we thought we were dope because it was hard, and our PCs were potatoes, and you know, it was like, but there wasn't any entitlement. It was just try to do your best. You know, I sucked at the game. I still suck.
Like you know, like when I started playing, when I was playing retail TBC, like my end game content was heroic Magister's Terrace, and there were so many groups that did not clear heroic Magister's Terrace. So when I killed Kel'Thas, I was like, I killed Kel'Thas. This is badass, and I had gear that probably was terrible, but like, it's just like this I think it's okay if classic content's hard if it's like at a level where, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, what was the boss, XT Deconstruct, right? The second boss or third boss of Ulduar, where it was mathematically impossible, right? And they didn't even kill it in Wrath Classic. I wish they could just have a separate instance where that boss was still there, and you could just keep trying. And then as you got more gear, like through Ulduar and then through TOGC and ICC, you can go back and think, can we still kill this boss? And just have these like things that are just so hard. And maybe when they release something, it's too hard, but you just leave it there. It's just there, and like you can keep trying for some cosmetic and just, I don't know, like got me fired up about this topic.
Okay, let's.
I think. Sorry, just one last thing on this topic. I think that the only way hard raids would ever work in Classic again is if they make it so unobtainable to expect to clear it that it's like similar to old rank 14, where it's just out of your reach, and you have to accept that. And I think that would dispel a lot of entitlement, because it's like rare enough to be able to, you know, get this thing from a raid that it's like, you know, it's fine. Most people won't have it. I'm not upset that all these people aren't going to have it around me.
Yes.
It's like, oh, this one guy gets it, whatever. And I think that sort of comparison is what is necessary for hard raids to actually work. So it needs to be like in 2000 whatever, 2005, 2006. I think that's how the level of unobtainable it was. Like Jordy was saying, you only cleared up to patchwork, and they were like hot shit on the server because they did it. They didn't even full clear. So like that shows
Yeah.
how like the unobtainability of a full clear created a less, I would say, entitled player base.
Yeah.
In that regard.
I think an easy solution, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but like have the content that gives you the player power that's clearable by most stuff, but then have the hard raid release with it that's like doesn't maybe offer player power. What was the phrase you used? Not player power, but
It's like character progression.
yeah, character progression.
Yeah, title or like enchant or
Yeah.
whatever.
And have that release maybe side by side with it. And that's just the thing that not everyone's clearing. And that's, I don't know. I think there's solutions. And I think people just have to accept I can't have everything, you know? And so you just typed in chat, like, I killed a mythic boss like almost the last week of it being current content. I was so happy. That shit's hard. But like, you know, I don't expect to like get all that stuff. I don't expect the same titles and everything. And I just think there's room for that in Classic. And I think you can adjust it to where it's not I just think as long as it's not player power, more people will be accepting of it. And I just think there is an entitlement issue that Blizzard can help. And I think it's solvable.
Okay, we're gonna do some rapid fires, and gap a tiny bit less so that we can get through some viewer questions. So we have a few questions from the Classic Plus Project Discord yappers. If you guys want to, audio listeners and video listeners, if you guys want to join the Discord, you can post questions that we will ask our guests every week, and there's a lot of really great conversation in there about what Classic Plus is, and some really bad takes like flying mounts should be in Classic Plus earlier. That was a bad one. Okay, but first up, Jack is asking, what are your thoughts on GDKP, and do you think Blizzard has approached it well so far?
No, I don't think that that Blizzard should ever dictate immersive gameplay. They should punish cheaters. So banning JDKP is stupid. They should permaban gold buyers.
I 1,000% agree.
It's too easy.
But let's say they can't ban gold buyers for whatever reason. Is there a solution that you've ever thought of?
Instead of using
basic.
gold, like facilitate a system where players can receive.
Is token system something?
No. Players can receive something related to sustainability of raid environment, say like consumables or something from doing the raid. So like you run a raid, if you were going to do a GDKP, you get 500 gold on your alt. That supplies you with enough gold to play the game on your other characters for the rest of the week. That's nice. That's like one of the biggest things for GDKP going for is that you go, and even though you don't get loot, you get enough things to play with outside of the raid. And so going to the raid and getting maybe like a flask of supreme power or some sort of like, you know, value you can use or sustain with is like really nice because it allows people to play a lot of different characters. And that's one of the best, I think, things in GDKP.
I totally agree, but it does remove a little bit of that profession joy. You know, the fun of that, like having to go around town and talk to all of your people and get their wares for the raid and stuff like that. But
I think that kind of profession stuff is almost like, you know, doing your chores rather than
world
like
best
yes,
like
Yeah.
really engaging with, you know, the world around you and your friends. It's like, ah, dude, like I need haste pots really bad. Like, is anyone around to do haste pots real quick? And then you kind of like, it's like this very like transient thing. They're like alt tabbed and they just create it for you and they trade it back. And I think, you know, if you want to have like that profession environment, it should be out in the world where you're both actively playing. With that being said, I think that if they did something like that, they would have to omega buff herbalism in the open world.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you know, whatever, so that it feels meaningful still.
I'm a huge fan of GDKP.
I understand why they did what they did. they want to incentivize guilds, right? I've even asked them this, and this has been.
Oh,
the
that's
answer.
silly, bro.
They want to
I
incentivize.
think that's a cop out.
They think guilds are a core system in the game, and they want to incentivize that over groups like GDP. I have met so many wonderful people in a GDKP.
Literally.
Like,
Yeah.
your social circle just grows 10 times when you can go to a GDKP. And it's so much fun meeting all these people because you raid with the same 25 whatever people every week, and you're like, okay, well that's my group. But with the GDKP, you make a new character and you got another 25 people to play with it. It's like one of my best friends I met in a GDKP. Like
I met Jordy through GDKPs. That's
Yeah,
literally how we
exactly.
met.
I think the whole, because I remember they cited this the first time they banned GDKP and saw the traditional guild, eroding traditional guild structures, I think was the word for word. And I think it's so silly for them to say that because all that happened was the GDKPs that existed turn into other pugs. You know, you can't cite something, a group of players that doesn't play with a guild as eroding the guild structure. What actually eroded guild structure is creating a 10-man raid environment where you no longer need to group with people outside of your small circle of friends. So they created small content, which eroded guild structure because you don't need to work with people you may not love and make a guild and have your enchanter and have your whatever and your dude, because it's all obtainable within your small circle of friends. So you no longer need a guild. You can just pug one dude because you have 8 friends, and that's where you get this like sort of like small pug guilds that exist. I think that's really what happened, and citing GDKP is like a scapegoat.
Paste.
I pulled up the Classic Plus project website just for
On the stream.
the survey results. 55.8% say no to GDKP right now. 22.3 yes and 21.9 opinion. So it's pretty.
I think,
It's pretty
and this
sad.
might be a hot take,
The average
I think the people who vote no in GDKP don't participate in the system, or they haven't participated in GDKP.
Yeah, have
or
not felt
they've joined
the joy of it.
maybe one GDKP that's a full pug, and they got denied from it. I think that's the big problem with this kind of question is like people that actually played GDKP, I think voted yes, and the people who were leveling vote no because they parrot, I don't know, Reddit or
there's a
streamer
Yeah.
or whatever.
there's like a not jealousy, but like I'm not doing it, so I don't want you to benefit from it type stuff. You know what I mean?
And there's also a like, all the good players are here, so now I'm playing with the bad players type shit.
Okay, moving on. Thomas NL asked if we really want to stay on Azeroth and not have these separate islands, we will inevitably run out of places. So if we want Classic Plus to keep the world fresh, we would want existing places to update. Now, should Blizzard do this? And what would be the most elegant way? TLDR, how do you think Blizzard should deal with updating existing zones, Kata style? Should there be phasing? Should they never do that?
I don't think that they should rework zones that exist. I think that there's plenty of opportunity to grow the world similar to how retail does it, except without invalidating all the other existing places in the world. So if you add a piece of new content, there shouldn't be trainers, a main city, an auction house, dailies, new reps, all this stuff that's just your whole focus. So like if they were to add something like Northrend, this is an example that I like to bring up for this, is if they were going to do Northrend, there should be a boat to take you to Northrend. There's no inns there. It's a desolate zone, and instead of it being the whole,
You had this,
shebang, it's
for
just
Outlander was your original.
yeah, and it's
love this
just
pitch.
Dragonblight and ICC, the most core Wrath of the Lich King themes you can possibly get. Condense it into 2 hostile zones. There's maybe a vendor, there's maybe a repair guy, but there's no auction house, there's no innkeeper, there's no flight paths, there's no nothing. There's raids there, dungeons, maybe like world bosses, and you could have like quest chains from other raids bring you out to Northrend to come back and get materials, and that's how you could introduce some sort of new zones without invalidating the old world.
That's a cool
And
design.
it creates an accessory island for you to visit. And those things I think
that,
need to happen.
When you first pitched
Isn't
this,
that kind of like old school RuneScape? Does that? Like, cause I play a little bit of RuneScape. I feel like this when you get to the
Honestly, I don't
worlds,
know.
right?
I haven't played enough RuneScape to know.
when you first pitched this, it reminded me of the dead zones kind of in a game called The Division, where it's a PvPvE like zone where there's like enemies that you can kill and loot, and then other players can kill you and get the loot that, you know, it's like a kind of extraction shooter.
It's the wilderness in RuneScape.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah, wilderness, pretty much. Yeah.
I thought that was like a really cool idea for WoW. I don't know. They have room to experiment with stuff now, right? And time to do it, because if they're not gonna, if they're always gonna be in Classic Plus and not make expansions and, you know, invalidate old content, then like they can do this stuff. So hopefully they take advantage of that.
Yeah. But that's honestly, if they only add like one thing that I, you know, like, have talked about, I would want that kind of change. Like the whole like, you know, the Outland thing where it's like Hellfire and Shadowmoon Valley, and there's 2 new raids, and you have to like bring your raid to the freaking Dark Portal to take the portal, and then hoof it there to Black Temple, and you know you have to deal with gankers, and you can't summon in these zones, and it's just whole like you're experiencing this, you know, hostility in the zone, and I think that's so sick.
And I think world bosses also have an element of that you could really lean into.
Do you remember Christmas Day 2019? You and I, Grizzly and Fusion and like a Horde guild were fighting for Azuragos, and we kited it all around the zone trying to get it off the Horde, and at like 0.1% at that little bridge on the bottom east of the zone, we got the tag of 0.1%, and it was like the most hype shit ever. Like stuff like that, man. It was like, I don't know.
Dude, seeing the mob go from a world boss go from gray to like bright, that's what I got a world boss once, and it's just an insane feeling when there's like the server's lagging, right? Like you're in that zone, and it goes from gray, and then it goes to that color where you get the tag. It's, dude.
You only got a world boss.
That's awesome.
You only got a world boss one time.
Yeah, I was, dude.
My God, you don't have to sound so disappointed in him.
Believe it or not, I actually, when I came into Classic 19, I didn't know what I was doing. I was still like I was a casual like clicker. I clicked all my buttons still pretty much.
I remember Ompy and Grizzly and me and Fusion, we were sitting on the hill surrounding Kazakh spawn. Like there were like 20 guilds on those hills. We each had a hill, and we were all trying.
I actually have footage of that.
I would love to see that.
I have footage of the Azuragos, probably.
Because like,
pretty sure.
That world boss day was so much fun. I don't know. We got off topic. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So this is from Kamori. How do you feel about attunements to raids? Do you like long narrative attunements like Onyxia, or short ones like WL? Do you want to see more or less attunements in the future? And what storyline with it? Okay, this is a different question. We'll stop there.
I think attunements are important story tools, and I think it depends on how they're designing the content. If the game is main focus, being that it's a slow leveling experience and there's a lot of progress through the raids, and each single raid is extremely meaningful, and you're going to progress it through like multiple weeks and it lasts a long time, I think it should have an attunement. If it's very alt focused, like SOD is an example of alt focused gameplay where, you know, you get to 25 in, let's say, 10 hours. So the 0 to max level is very quick. That's alt focused. So you're gonna instead be focusing on running it on multiple characters. I think those kind of attunements should be, if they exist, they should be very short and sweet. But I think something like the classic attunement and the TBC attunements fit really well with the original design implementation of leveling and main focused gameplay.
I think that's a really good answer. I don't know, man. I really
I
enjoyed
like
finding
Barry's
Rexar for the Horde side Onyxia attunement.
The thing about the attunements is that they are on classic. The attunements are kind of misunderstood, where the entrance portal into the raid was inside the dungeon, right? The portal to enter Molten Core was inside BRD. So we had to go through BRD. And it used to be like that, literally, it used to be like that before they even added the attunement. Like initially, there was no attunement to it at all whatsoever. You were able to enter BRD as a 10-man raid group, and there was a 40-man raid instance. Gate kept behind somebody actually going through the dungeon, clearing the dungeon, entering Molten Core, and then everybody else who was outside was finally able to get into the dungeon, ran through BRD to the Molten Core portal, zoning the portal. Like, that's actually how the lava runs came to be, because doing the lava run was actually faster than clearing the whole raid, right? The whole dungeon. But you had to wait for like 30 minutes before everybody was able to get inside Molten Core. And so to bypass that, they implemented the attunement that you will have a guy giving you a quest, bring me a shard of a stone or whatever from the gate to Molten Core, and I will teleport you inside Molten Core directly. They did that to bypass the necessity of everybody just waiting and then running through the whole BRD to enter the raid instance.
Hey, how you doing?
Like, that used to be the case back in the days. That was the OG design, and that design is bad, right? Like, there's no way, no other way to say it. Like, that's a bad design. So they did that, and for Blackwing Lair, it was the same thing, literally the same thing. The entrance to Blackwing Lair is right after Rend Blackhand, and you had to kill Rend Blackhand to be able to go through the gate by Rend Blackhand. And after that, and only after that, you were able to zone in Blackwing Lair. And they did literally the same thing. They gave some document to the quartermaster that sent you to click on an orb behind Drakisat, and after that you were able to click on the orb and enter Blackwing Lair. And that was designed like immediately, because they already had an experience and bad experience with entering into Molten Core. That they had to include a way to bypass the necessity to go through the instance like literally every week, every time, and literally delaying the raid by an hour, because that's how long it took to kill Rand and then start pouring through to get to the instance portal. And they literally did the same thing with Naxxramas as well. only with the difference that they actually did that. If you go to Stradholm and you get to the square with the abominations where Baron is, where the Baron is, like just before you enter the room or the building rather, there is the rally of skeletons pouring in that you just AoE with one single spell. And right behind them there is a raid instance portal. If you would be able to browse the map, which you are able to on some, you can somehow get in and stuff and go through that, you would get to another square. There is a Zikkurat and Naxxramas is visible right on top of that. It was literally intended that you would go through that portal to enter Naxxramas. And after the experience with Molten Core and Blackwing Lair, they realized that they can't do that, and they put in the teleport to the Naxxramas in front of Stradholm to a random ass Zikkurat that was just standing there before then. But the initial design literally was to let everybody go into Naxxramas through the portal. So that's what the attunements are. Like, the attunements are literally a bypass how to get to the raid instance, because the raid instance was locked deep within an instance in the first place. And they eventually realized that that is bad design, right? So attunements, well, if you do the raids correctly, Onyxia is a different case, but if they do the raids correctly and the raid portals, like, there's no reason for attunements to be in the game in the first place. You shouldn't be like you hit level 60, whatever, just zone into the tier 6 raid immediately, like no attunements are required. You're useless, you're garbage, you're not supposed to be there, you're not helping anybody. Everybody knows that, right? Get out. That's how it should be. It should be unkillable for you, so there's no reason to gatekeep you from even entering that instance. With Onyxia, it's different. They did one of the first massive epic quest chains and it was awesome, it was great, and horrible at the same time. Onyxia attunement is such a bad thing to have to do. On the other hand, not a bad thing to have to do. It's rather I take that back. Like, it's a good thing that it's in the game. I kind of like it that it's in the game. It's just too long, I should say, rather. Or maybe not. Like that it is a thing that you have to work for, because it's worth it. Like, if you do attunements like that, it has to be worth it, because the reward for actually getting in there should be really high. That's what I think. So attunements, yes, but with really excellent reward. If they and they should be cheap. It shouldn't be the It shouldn't be the tier 0.5 upgrade to 0.75, where you literally have to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gold and go through like really hard content to obtain one item that's good for a little while. And that's not giving you anything, because there's multiple raid tiers out already. There's PvP, which is super obtainable right now, which is just better than that. And it's just weird fucking content to do the 0.5 upgrade quest chain, because it's so expensive and so not worth it. And then it's completely annoying to do it with someone. Like, can we summon Valtalak? Oh my god, new BRS, and then the raid vibes, because nobody's prepared to kill Valtalak, because it's not an easy boss, and like 90% of the player base are absolutely clueless and have no idea what to do and how to kill Valtalak. Alright, let's continue.
Yeah.
I really like.
But attunements to the next raid tier, I would be fine if it was like in TBC, that you have to that kind of, so that you are able to Black Temple, it kind of guarantees that you did Serpent Shrine and that you did Tempest Keep, and just the fact that you were able to enter Serpent Shrine and Tempest Keep, that you had to kill Gruul and that you had to clear Karazhan, so that you have layers of progression within the attunements, and like giving players option to somehow bypass that might be seen as a good thing when it's already 5th tier. And I don't want to do Molten Core, nobody is doing Molten Core anymore. Like, if you had to, there would be always a community of people who would be doing that, but with receding numbers, like the members of the player base, this might become more of an issue going down the road, when the population on the servers is not healthy anymore. But it could be an incentive to, you know, find a guild that's actually doing that. I don't know.
Narrative stuff. I guys, and the first time you do something, is such a blast.
Oh yeah.
And vanilla, I think attunements are like, they're just part of your character's journey. You know what I mean? And if you make everything account bound, or you don't have like long attunements, you just feel a little bit less attached to your character. It becomes a little bit more like retail, where your character is not a character, it's just an extension of you, the player. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that is, I like leaning into the RPG elements of the game a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Me too.
and if they're not, again, if they're not going to level 70 and you're always going to be running around these same areas, what's the rush? Do the thing. You know what I mean?
I think people often forget that people who even consider themselves like super sweaty players still love like the RPG aspect of WoW. Like, people think there's two different, like, either you're just this sweat guy who like min maxes and Warcraft logs, or you're someone who likes RP, you like lore, and you like leveling. Those people exist. They like both. And I'm one of them. I think we're all one of those people, and I think it's important that the game, you know, cares about that. With attunements, like I joked around, like obviously I don't want to find Rexar in like the Onyxia attunement, but I think Saw did an attunement for Cares and Crypts, and I thought that was super fun. I thought that was that it was like you traveled all across Azeroth. You went to zones they didn't like use, like you went to Grim Batol, right, or the area by Grim Batol,
if you're working for a big reward, which I would actually like being able to enter next raid tier, for example, which I would consider that like a big reward, because it's a very important step. Like traveling all across the world, doing hard stuff, or like having to grind something, like clearing dungeons for and stuff. Like I wouldn't consider it a bad thing. Like it doesn't have to be easy to do the attunement if it's worth it to do the attunement, because you are able to get into the next raid tier.
And I think that's a good like idea and blueprint for like attunements in C+.
I also think main focus, like I think that the problem with attunements isn't necessarily the attunement itself. It's that, you know, most people nowadays will play more than one character. Maybe not most, but a lot of people play more than one character, and it's this expectation of repetition that they don't like.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a consequence of lack of content.
Yep.
So if you were going to make a game in an ideal world, there's enough things for you to do where you just do the attunement once and it's not a big deal and it's fun. And it's just this thing you can check off, and then you have all these stretch goals on your main to do. And if you're really an overachiever, maybe you have it all. I think that's kind of how I think it should be. I think main focus is so good for the RPG, and it puts you into those like goals a lot more.
Somebody in chat said excellent class quests are better than attunements, and I mean, it makes me think, like, could you maybe combine them so like some attunements have elements of class specific stuff within, so that you can keep some parts of the attunements for everybody, but like every other quest is a little bit different, and then it kind of reduces that. I don't know, I'm just pitching ideas now. I should just go to the website.
No, I think having something like, you know, if you had something like Rock Delar for every class.
God, yeah,
say,
they need they need that for
you
sure.
need to get that.
They need that for
quest.
sure.
You needed to get that quest done in order to get attuned to something. You know, let's say 2 tiers above. You needed to have that.
I mean,
quest
there's
done or something.
Benediction and Rock Delar in vanilla as like these two incredible class quests that nobody else has, and I remember I still
For Compendium of Dragon Slaying, for your Quell Serar.
to this day I remember sitting in geometry class, and I was
Atiesh for all the casters.
write out every single consumable I needed for my Benediction quest when I had my Eye of Shadow and my Eye of Divinity, and I was like so excited.
Sulfuras, Hand of Ragnaros. It's not a class base, but those are stuff to work for.
To do it. I had like 20 oils of immolation and all this shit, and like it's just like burned into my memory of like the joy. I've said joy a lot this podcast, of just like prepping and being excited about it. And I think I mean every class should have 1 or 2 of those, I think, because they are so much fun.
Yeah. Sod did a good job. I'm saying Sod a lot. Sorry. I love Sod. They added those class quests and Blackwing Lair. But I think with attunements, as long as like, I think it's cool to have them be long. I think the fear of, you know, you can't do them on an alt is just solved by you put.
I think that with Blackwing Lair, as I said, like as it was with as it was with TBC, you should fully clear Molten Core as a requirement to be able to zone in Blackwing Lair. You should fully clear Blackwing Lair as a requirement to zone into, well, AQ into Naxxramas. You should fully clear AQ 20 to be able to zone into AQ 40. something like that. Like there should be a quest chain or a tree of chains that stems somewhere and spread into variety of different attunements.
Put the attunements in places that people are frequently in, like maybe part of the attunement, goes to Black Rock Depths or some new dungeon that people always want to farm something there. And just as long as you can make it so like it's not hard to find a group for the attunement because there are people who are always wanting to do that content for some different reason.
Okay, let's go to leak of the week. Yeah, we're gonna play a little thing, and then Journey's gonna tell us about this incredible leak he found. Second.
Hey ho, hey ho.
Leak of the week.
Yeah, this comes from a guy on the MMO Champion forums named Ice Storm. MMO Champion, notoriously always correct for what future expansion's coming out. But in this leak, not reading the whole thing verbatim, the big things on here is that there are no new races at launch. Paladin and Shaman are still going to be faction exclusive, with minor changes to hybrid classes, nothing crazy like SOD, no new roles like SOD did, like Warlock Tank, Mage Healer, or Rogue Tank. Whatever. Level up raids are coming back, and every dungeon is reworked. 25 is SFK, 40 is Oldemon, and 50 is Zul'Farrak. Heroic dungeons will be making a comeback, but they're going to be 10-man raids, converting 5-man endgame dungeons as these heroic dungeons, meaning it's one difficulty here. Like Skullomance, Dire Maul, Upper Blackrock Spire, even Meriden or Maradin, I forget which one it properly is. And something called the Halls of Oldemon, so I'm assuming that's a new dungeon, with the same difficulty as level up raids with daily lockouts. At the bottom, 2 Caverns of Time instances. Not sure, Ice Storm says, not sure if 5-man dungeons or 10-man raids yet. Battle of Grim Batol, where we're transformed into dwarves, humans, and high elves. So like when you become a human in Durnhold Keep, it's Cavern of Time dungeon, to aid Ronan, Falstead, and Varisa in fighting the Dragon Maw clan, and then a fight for Blackrock Spire, where we assist Orgrim Doomhammer in fighting the Shadow Council. And the most important thing, a release date, October 29th.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
What do you? Which one are you booing?
It's just too crazy of a. It's just too crazy of a thing, dude. It's just.
I don't really like level up raids unless they're locked, and like you scale back with like a level 40s gear, and you can do it again at like level 60.
So you could always have people helping you out then, right? You don't have to wait for someone to.
I think that, but like worst case, I don't like leveling raids. I don't think there's a good way to make them work.
So this says level up raids, but not level bands.
Oh,
I'm
so
asking.
I thought
does it have like level caps along the leveling journey, or is it just?
I'm pretty sure it was like it's. Hold on, where is it? Level up raids, phases, level locked phases. I kind of like the idea of level up raids where you just do the raid once and your experience bar comes back up and you boost to the next level. Thoughts? We're mid on that one. Okay, good to know. Taking that one back.
I just feel like this is just too much. It's just like I would be disappointed that they went this far. You know what I mean? I want them to color within the lines a little bit. This just feels
I think they
too zany.
The first 3 is like, okay, no new races, Paladin and Shaman exclusive, and minor changes to hybrid classes. Okay, you kind of got me in there. And then every dungeon is reworked. I'm like, well, okay, I don't know about that. And then these heroic 10-man dungeons. Was there anything you liked in this potential leak, Ampi?
I like the idea of 10-man content. I think that they should facilitate more like smaller like 10-man difficult content. I think not necessarily difficult in the sense that it's like hard modes, maybe, but like why can't you have something that's like the same difficulty as like AQ40 as a 10-man, right? Like 10-man dungeon that comes out with, say, that patch or something. And I think having these like sort of like smaller things are cool if they're accessory content, not necessarily primary content.
Yeah.
Where you're doing Ubers with the boys again in phase 4. I think that's cool.
Did you like the like heroic dungeon and TB6 their difficulty, or is that like not that kind of heroic
I think that
challenge?
difficulty is fine. Honestly, I think it's good. It's
I agree.
it's something you outgrow very quickly too. So like you can start doing heroics no problem. Once you're in like tier 5 gear, you're smashing heroics. Like it doesn't even matter. And I think that you should be able to see that character progression too. Where your like character sort of outgrows the content with gear.
Yeah. Well, you, Jordy.
No new classes or races at launch just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
Really?
like, imagine you're a marketing person at Blizzard. You're gonna want something shiny to put in the trailer.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That makes sense.
That is something that you're gonna want to do. So good.
I was gonna say like I almost feel like they need something. They need to go like either like Blood Elf or Highborn or some sort of like thing like that. I'm a little bit. I hope they do goblins.
Dude,
I hope goblins
I'm just an I'm ogre. It's all I care about is ogre. It's ogre.
No way, dude. You're an ogre maxer.
We're ogre maxing hard. I mean, imagine if somebody made this joke. I'm stealing it. Body type 1 is one-headed ogre. Body type 2 is two-headed ogre. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Gear models are
So they'll fucking deal with it. Relax. You're not a
it's just
developer.
too much work, bro.
You're
It's
not a
just too much
developer.
work.
You don't know what's too much work. Just
have to make a new model.
be
They
a
have
fucking
this stuff in
greedy
retail
consumer
already.
and just fucking demand it. It's fine.
Zítra co? Okay.
Fine, they'll figure it out.
All right, they add Volpera.
I'm against
hold
Volpera.
on. Well, chill,
I'm
chill,
against
chill, chill,
Volpera.
Chill.
I just want
Absolutely
I just want stuff that's in Warcraft 3 ultimately. So like I'd be okay with goblins, but ogres I feel like are the most like they're everywhere. in Warcraft 3. Ogre Magi.
Blood Elves. I think Blood Elves are the most like Warcraft 3.
Yeah, for sure. Blood Elves should absolutely be or Blood Elves and High Elves, yeah.
There's
I think
no
it's- and
way.
I think
high
next
elves
is
aren't
Naga.
coming.
I think Naga is more prevalent in Warcraft 3 than ogres.
So the thing about Naga, and
I don't think either work.
I'm not saying Naga can't work, but like, do you play as a Naga? I don't think you ever do unless it's like Sylvanas' Naga, right? Or Illidan's Naga, I think, in Warcraft 3.
I just think being a Naga,
I mean, you control
warrior-
them though.
a tank warrior Naga would be badass. Like I just picture like a one arm polearm and the shield in my hand. Oh, that'd be awesome, dude. Getting goosebumps right now.
I just feel like ogres are what Windata is saying. Windatar,
Windatar.
Windatar. Ogres are like part of the horde. It's literally part of the horde currently. Like in Warcraft 3, it just feels bad that they're not in the game.
What do they mount though?
Oh, what do they mount?
Chicken or something.
Let me show you what they mount. We
Oh no!
Fucking-
You're gonna show me the...
Peace in my Classic Plus Project Discord posts 10 of these a day of what they mount. I'll pull it up one second. Keep talking.
I think a given is high elves. Like I think that's just like it's so
Yeah.
obvious with the blood elf model. It's easy to do because there's that whole thing that Steven's been data mining, like the Shendorai, which things I'm always like children of the sky. Like, I'm speculating it's a new elf race that's not the four. Ebonheart was talking about this, the elf races. That it just makes sense. Like obviously they're pretty and maybe they're neutral, so everyone gets to be an elf, which I don't know how I feel
I
about
think they
that.
could just easily do like 2 factions of elves. Like you could do like the high elves and then the blood elves. You could, like easily add them to Alliance Horde, and then everybody gets elves.
And goblins. Goblins.
But do you think that they're gonna do Paladin and Shaman stay exclusive, or do you really think it's gonna switch off? Like
No
Horde?
way, dude. Okay, that's just too much, man. Nobody's riding around on a tyrant devilsaur, man. That's sick, though.
I don't like how happy he looked. He looked happy. It kind of scared me. That looks more realistic.
That's better.
Not a fan.
I actually think that's better. Like the big bear mount, like from when you kill the leaders in Wrath of the Lich King and you get like the black bear mount, that could be an ogre mount.
But how big would they be? You got to scale all the rooms. They're not going to fit through doors.
Good.
Like
Honestly, in EverQuest they have ogres, okay, and they don't fit through doorways sometimes, and they have to get shrunk to fit through doorways.
Wait, really?
Yes,
Okay.
this is true. I could see the board too.
These are some ugly motherfuckers.
You know what? I'm ogre maxing now too. You convinced me, Jordy. I actually, and you should be able to like your belly is never covered by anything. You can't wear a tabard, and you should be able to tattoo it.
But the belly stops right here at the chest, and you put it on.
Yeah. Your tabard just goes to one side.
Your chest armor's on your shoulder instead. Oh, I don't know. I think Jordy's won me over too.
I think they could also do allied races. You know, you could do like the red orcs for Horde. I feel like that
You
would
think
be
so?
sick.
That's not too retail-y for you, like allied. Like
I don't think so. I mean,
okay.
like, it's just like a different orc, like cosmetic. You could put the Maghar orc, maybe. Yeah.
They get a different racial or the same one?
There's so much that they have to get
Right, the whole
done.
thing on racials.
I feel like that
No,
allied
I wonder
races
that.
feel very like you got a lot of business to do before you get into allied races. Like ogres, goblins,
I can agree.
Worgen, all the elves, maybe Naga. There's like a ton of stuff, and I don't know. I just don't feel like allied races are something you should necessarily.
Allied races made me lose hype for like an expansion giving a new race because like it's still on YouTube and I'm a nerd and still watch this. I still watch sometimes the Cataclysm announcement trailer from BlizzCon, and you just hear the reaction of the audience when they announce Worgen and Goblin. It's insane, and you just don't get that anymore with like races.
Yeah.
Fucking Dyrub, dude. Fucking piece of shit Dyrub makes a scooter ogre to remind me of my failure. Fuck you.
You know what? That actually kind of fits.
Just don't hit a steel plate and break your pelvis and shoulder. Okay, let's move on to Rennie is going to. She prepared a presentation for us, and we're all going to watch and then judge the presentation and the subject of it. So make sure we have the stream open, Jordy and
Got you.
because it's incredible. So here, wait, let me go back to the shot. And Ampy, do you have your gavel and your wig ready? I'm just kidding.
I'm ready to judge.
I'm just kidding. Okay, go.
In the Azrothian justice system, creating drama is considered especially heinous. The dedicated hosts who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Loot and Order Unit. These are their stories.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's case comes to us from a listener named Dan.exe, and it's a classic, pun intended, tale from the battle for Azeroth. Dan is brand new to raiding at this point, first time ever stepping into a raid, and he rolls up as an arms warrior, which, if you remember from BFA balance patches, was not exactly a first pick spec. But hey, he finds a small, chill, casual, friendly guild. They vibe, they knock out some Mythic Plus together, and eventually they push into Old Year Normal. And here is where the case gets interesting. This raid team runs on 4 key players, 2 tanks, Beloved, Encouraging, Explain the Mechanics types, and a raid leader who communicates exclusively through /yell in text, in all caps, every single wipe. Now, naturally, someone asks the obvious question. Why doesn't the raid leader just talk in voice chat, like a normal person leading a raid? And the answer is, they claim to not have a working mic in 2018. So, the yelling keeps piling up, and slowly, one by one, people start quietly slipping out of the guild. And here is my favorite detail in the entire story. The raid leader, the Shadow Priest, is consistently pulling less damage than the healers. The angriest person in the raid. Also, statistically the worst player in the raid. Every pull. And it gets better. The raid leader's girlfriend, also a healer on the team, takes it upon herself to verbally rip into everyone else's performance. Out loud, in voice. Despite the two of them being, again, statistically, the two worst performers on the entire roster. Meanwhile, the tanks and a few others start floating alternative strategies for some of the tougher pulls, you know, like normal, healthy raid problem-solving things. And the raid leader just shuts it down every time. Slash yell, "We do it my way?" No exceptions. No exceptions. From the guy losing the DPS meters to healers. Now, the turning point. They clear the first 3 raids of BFA. Classic WoW gets announced. And almost the entire roster, except shockingly, the raid leader, wants to jump ship to Classic. Morale for retail, and for this guy specifically, is basically on life support. So what's the guild to do? They buy him a mic. Not as a joke, as an intervention. The plan is, get him actually talking, hash out the guild's future, air every grievance like adults. Someone genuinely goes out, buys the mic, and hands it over. He refuses to use it. No reason given, just no. And that is the moment the dam breaks. Months of frustration all coming out at once, right there in guild chat. And Dan, our submitter, decides he's done. Hit slash you quit mid-argument. He messages the tanks right after, and they tell him, yeah, we're right behind you. And that's it. The guild is effectively over. Dan says he hasn't spoken to anyone from that guild since. He just hopes that the raid leader either isn't leading raids anymore, or at the very least, finally learned how to plug in a headset. What does the court deem the defendant?
What is this bullshit?
So yeah, I don't know if this one's that difficult to judge.
Who the fuck cares?
Why do you think somebody like wouldn't want to use a mic? Like, I just don't understand. Like, maybe the room they're in is bad, or they're like a 12-year-old.
No, they probably just don't like their voice.
Yeah, they're probably 12. I was what they called a squeaker in vanilla. My guild called me a squeaker, even though I was not the youngest person in the guild. Have you ever bought a piece of gear for somebody in your guild just to solve the issue?
Yes.
That is crazy. Dude, I think he was actually doing his job as a raid leader. You know, I'm not gonna lie. He was raid leading, I bet. And that's why his DPS was low.
Sure.
You know, to be fair,
that's why I got
he is
a healer.
typing.
Yeah,
He's
typing.
he's typing slash yell, probably doing it by hand, no macros, right? So slash y space, and then entering everything while mechanics are happening.
I mean,
it's a fair point.
There's that great meme of like the 12-year-old me like helping a 35-year-old guy through his divorce or whatever, and like I feel like this applies here. It's like this person must have been young or something. But yeah,
I think it's interesting that they want to raid lead, but they don't want to use a mic.
Yeah, why would you want to raid lead? Just don't. I mean, it's just power trip shit. I don't know.
What do you get in BFA? Was there some sort of like cool thing for raiding you got? I can't imagine that would just go to him first.
There's definitely people I know that are like, I'm gonna raid lead this expansion because it's Warglaives. Like, and then they go like,
Yes,
and
that's
then,
so smart.
and then they go back to like not caring for the next expansion for whatever reason. Like, so yeah, if you want to submit a story that you have drama over the years, please. There's a Google form that we have. We'll post it in the description, and it's in the chat right now. Give us a good write-up, and we will dramatize it. Ren will give it a good read, and we will we'll all watch it together. Pod.
Yeah, and shout out Rennie for making all that editing and stuff. That's awesome. It's hilarious.
Good job. I feel like we need gavels. We need to get everybody a gavel.
You can get the gavel back from Jerome that you sent him.
Oh yeah, I bought Jerome a gavel. It's embossed with no hit Jerome. Last on the charts, first in our hearts. And yeah, That's accurate, I think.
Because we were supposed to do a streamer thing together with Mop, and he just dropped the ball and all of that.
He just couldn't do loot for some reason. GDKP, like he just like couldn't figure it out.
He would leave the GDKP, not even buying anything, with less gold as a host with the host.
Like way less gold. He would use his own gold all the time just to make up for mistakes.
Jordy, now that we're this far into it, I kind of know why. Because he gave me an extra cut that I wasn't supposed to get, and I never told him.
Okay, well, that's on you for dick. But like, he's such a nice guy. It's just infuriating getting him to do the right thing.
Professional rage baiter.
Yeah, the man's an artist. All right, we are almost done. We are going to really quick. We're going to start a quick new segment. It's called Your Favorite Item in World of Warcraft. We're going to watch G-Bay's favorite item really quick because we missed it last week, and then we're going to hear about
Favorite item in World of Warcraft. Favorite item in World of Warcraft. I don't know. I don't know.
G-Bay was nice enough to submit this, and we're gonna watch his, which will be very different than Oppie, I would guess.
All right, so the question is, what is my favorite item in World of Warcraft? And honestly, that's a hard one for me to answer since I'm still going through my first playthrough of Classic WoW, and I'm running into so many items that I had no idea they ever existed. And it's been very fun to run into so many of them, but through that lens, my favorite item would probably have to be the Cape of the Brotherhood, just because the very first dungeon I ever ran was the Dead Mines. My experience going through that, I was too scared to need roll on any of the loot until the very end, where I need rolled on the Cape of the Brotherhood, dropped by Edwin Van Cleef at the very end, and I think I was level 20 when I finished that dungeon. And maybe it's just because I'm still a noob and I don't know where anything better is, but I'm still using that cape now well into the mid-30s. I haven't seen another cape that's better than it, and having a single item that I've kept with me for so long that I'm always staring at, looking at my character.
Yeah, my favorite item would be this one. Sword of Omen. You get it at 38, let's say. I usually, if I'm not self-found, I put on steel weapon chain and use it till 60. I'm always so much looking forward to getting that quest out of the way, because it actually pushes you forward quite significantly. and you kind of get into the 40s fun dungeons, where you can just start grinding multiple different dungeons. Yeah, so my favorite item would be, I was thinking about it, would be sort of
Model and seeing that cape draped over his back. It's grown. I've grown attached.
and it was in between that and actually the original obsidian edged blade two-handed sword, the original visual skin of it.
Attached to it. It's been a really fun item to take with me through so much of my journey.
All right, thanks, G-Bay. King of the Brotherhood's pretty good item, I think, to pick, because you really do use it a while, right? I feel like Cruel Barb maybe as a warrior would be better. I don't know. What's the best item you could get at Deadlands?
Staff of Westfall, baby.
I mean, it's guaranteed though, so I guess,
That's why it's the best.
So then, Cape of the Brotherhood is the best drop.
I don't know, man.
No,
When I had
no.
a twink
Ladders and Jeweled Ring.
rogue, Cruel Barb was awesome.
Two-handed weapon
The
from
cookie
Smitty.
wand.
No, you'll use the staff.
I think it's
That's
Cruel
mighty
Barb.
hammer.
That's an iconic, like your first
But you
blue
don't.
one-hander.
But you don't. One hand as a warrior.
Well, I got it for a warrior. Sorry, for a warrior. Yeah. Oh, bro, I don't give a shit. What's better? Cruel Barb. It looks
You're
sick.
such a fuck. Yeah. Okay. Ampi, what is your favorite item in all of World of Warcraft?
Bag of marbles.
Yeah, I figured that would be it. I just kind of felt it.
I thought so too, actually.
We talked about Bad Marbles last week because G-Bay sold his.
Really?
And he vendored it.
Yes.
Because he just didn't.
He's gotta
he
re-roll.
just didn't know. You know, he's a new player. He doesn't understand that that's ungettable. What about Bag of Marbles do you love?
So I think it's not necessarily like obviously I think Bag of Marbles by itself is the strongest item in the game. Like you can use Bag of Marbles and all of a sudden a rogue can tank any boss as long as they just do melees. We actually had the strategy around Bag of Marbles and rogue tanking patchwork. Theoretically, you can get a pre-raid rogue with only like one item from ZG, and you get dodge capped if you roll Night Elf and have 100% Bag of Marbles uptime. And so we were gonna cheese it in Frontier. We were originally gonna cheese it with 39 ranged DPS and one rogue, so nobody's getting hateful. And we were gonna do that, but it never ended up coming out. That was why LMGD played Night Elf. But outside of that, I think the implications of doing a quest in Goldshire having an effect on your level 60 character in raids shows how interconnected the whole world was. It's not necessarily I don't think
They did not.
meant it to be like that.
They did. There's no way they meant that. But
Right, but
it is a
it's just
great thing.
how meaningful these random items you come across can actually be, and there's a lot of them, like boggling roots being used in top end parsing, give you +1 damage, and it's like a level 7 quest reward, you know, and,
Yeah.
and
Magic dust, right?
that's kind of like the epitome of classic to me. That like, you know, you can find meaning in all these like random items. Magic dust, you know, another crazy consumable.
I mean, magic dust is broken.
People use it on like KT.
I know. You use it in TBC a lot. But I mean, you use it in Sunwell Plateau on the trash. Like it's very common to break one of the casts. I can't remember which one it is, but and obviously in Tempest Keep the spinning shit. But I agree the really fun aspect of everything being good in some way is really cool. And then once you've used it, it's gone. I think feels really good, and it feels like your character has like a story. It's an RPG, and how many do you have left? What's the story of each one that you used? Like, it's really fun. If Classic Plus comes out, I really hope there's a lot.
Prosím tě, o čem mluvíš a mluv se mnou česky.
Když vezmu ty sluchátka a zapojím je do toho, tak i tak to slyším, ale ne v těch sluchátkách.
Aha, no tak nefunguje.
A lot of stuff like this, it does make me a little nervous that people are gonna have to re-roll for prog every single time to get whatever it is. You know what I mean? That just sounds like some sweaty shit Beef Bar or Progress or Newman would do. But like,
Yeah, like your light of balloons.
yeah, and like every single tier you'd have to go and make a new character, have it ready to go for whatever reason. But like, that's the kind of stuff I love personally.
Yeah, it's not required, but it's an extra step that you can use. It's cool. Yeah.
I kind of like that in hardcore WoW when you have this like trinket collection. You got your bag of marbles, your target dummies, maybe you have bombs, you got your light of a loon ready, your stocking potions. You have this like whole collection of like utility items you just carry around with you, or in your bank.
I mean, it's the
Radio Sticking Glue, Slumber Sand, Invisibility Potion, Water Breathing Potions I have in the bank right now. Then there's the Anti-Venom. Could have fobs, but still don't have the recipe. Yeah, utility items. I really like that. Yeah.
it's the RPG of it. It just it feels really fun. It leans more towards like Baldur's Gate than it does like.
I was thinking that too when you were talking about like the one-time use and then it's gone.
Super fun.
But it's just cool. It's just so cool. Like that's Dungeons and Dragons approach. I just more of that.
Yeah.
We're all furiously agreeing. All right, we are.
I'll be your permanent host. Found him.
Yeah, if Jerdy and Red are gone, I'll be your okay, last thing. We do a segment at the end of every show called One Cool Thing, where you can bring up something that isn't necessarily WoW related, just to kind of learn about your life. And you know, it could be WoW related, but whatever. So let's talk about a one cool thing of the week. Jerdy, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I recently got into wanting to collect old stuff, and I wanted to show off what's the start of my collection. And this is stuff I had in the 90s. One of my favorite movies of all time is Small Soldiers. And I still have a working Major Chip Hazard. The actual voice box, which is behind me right now, still has Tommy Lee Jones' voice on it. The Archer Gorgonite does not work anymore, though. But the Major Chip Hazard still works. And then on the right is an OG Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story 1, not the new ones, the one that came out in the 90s. And my name's actually written on the bottom of it, like Andy. But me and my brother both have one. We both had a Woody. I lost mine. He still has his Woody, and it has our name underneath. But yeah, and the next one I want to get is Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way. That's my favorite Christmas movie. And I had one, but I gave it to like a family friend when they were a kid because they loved it too. And I'm like, can I have that back? And they lost it, unfortunately. But that's next on my to-do list is to get a Turbo Man. That's my one.
I
cool
loved
thing.
Small
I'm pretty
Soldiers.
sure I had
also.
that middle guy as a kid.
Archer? Yeah. You ever seen Small Soldiers?
I'm sure I did as a kid. But
I love that.
I'm
I could
pretty
watch
sure
that
it
movie
sounds
whenever.
familiar. That's where
I
they're
love
like
that
the army figurines.
They're action figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like fight in the alien race, which I think it's these guys, right? It's these guys versus the Commandos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gorgonites.
Was it CG or was it claymation or was it like
it was
stop
CG.
Motion? It was fully CG. Okay. I can't remember. Well, cool, dude. Good luck finding the other two. If anybody has a hookup on Turbo Man, hit up Jerdy. All right, I'll go next. As I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, I was in the hospital for a week and then I was in physical therapy inpatient for another week. You learn a lot about the world. And, you know, the nurses have various random facts that they throw at you. And I was not, they call it cathed. I was not cathed ever.
for the record, which is when they insert a tube up your urethra so that you can just pee freely and not just wet the bed, right? I was never cathed, for the record. But the nurse that I had at one point, she was very cute. Her name was Isabel. Isabel, if you're around. She told me about a new version of a male catheter that I thought was really cool, and it excited me because I'm gonna get old and I'm gonna have to get cathed at some point, and it scares the shit out of me of getting a tube shoved up my dick hole. So there is a new catheter that is an external catheter, just like the space station might have. It's just like a bag with a vacuum inside of it, and it just sucks it all up.
That is crazy, bro. What is this?
Oh, the QIVI external catheter for men. So you don't have to get a tube up your dick. You just pee into this bag and then it vacuums it up and you're good to go. So men rejoice. As we get older, we're not going to have to worry about it. And now you know. Science is amazing. Technology is amazing. And medical science technology is the amazingest.
That guy's face looks so bad.
I mean, he should be happy, dude. He doesn't have to get cathed now. It's incredible.
Oh my god.
I thought I would share that with you. I was excited that I didn't have to ever get cathed. So, yeah. Okay, now you know. And Ompy, what is your one cool thing of the week?
It's actually some footage.
Fuck yeah, send it.
I can just stream it on my cam.
Yes. In Discord?
No, just on my camera. I'm using OBS virtual cam.
Oh, wait, let me... Oh.
Okay, this is something I miss in Classic. Running as a raid. So, to get to the raid, you have world buffs ticking. Or we have world buffs here. And to get to the raid, we would all group up in Iron Forge. We'd count down and fly out together. And we'd do a run. And so this is just some footage of us doing that. And this would be like, you know, we had more than one raid day. So we'd have like the alt raids come in just for PvP. And we'd all be in comms and we'd be like scouting. And we had people dead at Blackhawk Mountain. It's just like an experience that I wish Classic could kind of like bring this sort of, I don't know, like guild function again. So this is just like what it would look like. Every single raid day, we'd have...
Why'd you guys go in through Lockwood on?
There were people camping the Thorium Point here.
Is this still on Stalag? Looks like you're in...
this is Stalag.
Yeah.
So this is early Stalag. So
I was
like, this is like week... No, like
you're
5.
weird.
Yeah, this was... It says the date. October 22nd. So this is right after Dire Maul comes out.
I've got another one of these videos.
Yeah, so I have this, and then I also have a video of like Azure Ghosts, but this is, I think I missed this more.
Yeah, this is
The whole like
peak
running
world
together
PvP,
is crazy.
Because it was goal oriented, and it also had to do with PvP. And like,
Yeah,
it felt like
trying to safely get your guild in, so you're not getting griefed. Or
it also called like running the bulls, right? Where it's like every man for himself a little bit if things fall apart, because like you just try not to get sniped and all that. Damn, how did you have a Winter Spring Frost Saber on week 5, you fucking DJ?
We had a group of like 5 people that did it. So we have like, you see Fusion's there. There's Afro, and there's Afro, and then there's a Pally as well. I forget his name right off the top of my head.
This is so.
I remember you guys.
This is so cool.
You guys had the. You were in the Mafia, the Double Star Mafia.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Look at the, yeah, you can see the other Winter Sabers. Dude, that's so, it's so peak.
Look at this. Yeah, this is peak. You just need
formation.
You need Flight of the Valkyries.
Can't get sappered.
This is the one. This is the one thing that.
Here, let me play the music.
40-man raid again.
But this is what I want. This is why I like large scale raids as well.
Yeah.
Because you get this sort of thing where you fly out together, you group up, you fly out, you run in. And Boons kind of killed this, to be honest. Which is a shame.
It did.
But also, world buffs, you know, they're kind of lame to lose anyway. So
I'm so back and forth on 40-minute rating, but seeing this is just, I don't know. This.
I mean, we had. Did you guys have a?
we got the slow mounts in the back.
Did you guys have a protection?
I like 40-man raids. I like 20-man raids. I like 10-man raids. Way more than I like dungeons. I would really like 5-man dungeons throughout the leveling. And at level 60, all should be 10-man content. I love it. 10-man plus.
Raid like we did.
Oh
It
yeah,
looks like
yeah.
you
You can
did,
see
yeah.
all these people are the dark green names are the protection raid.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we had
okay.
the same thing where one raid was in front, and it was the people not raiding that night, and the other raid was just behind them.
Yeah, and you can see we're all protection pot. I have a fire, frost, arcane, holy protection pots up for combat. Yeah, it's a blast.
So we're gonna get you all of it.
Is there a fight in this video?
I don't think so. This is just the run in. I didn't watch all of it because I was trying to pull it up during the.
Jordan, you can post the cannon fodder one. That's so good. It's got 40 folk in Discord too, man. It's all hyping it up.
Oh, we got like 80.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this run up, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. You guys were always really organized in a way that we didn't have the discipline of. Because I think you just had a lot of veterans from P server.
Yeah.
And there's a certain way you move your character that you only really get after a lot of time playing the game. You know what I mean?
Maybe there's a little combat. Like there's some corpses.
This shit is dope. Well, you're really risking it all. I mean, you had scouters too up front. I'm sure you're saying
Yeah, we had a scouter, so they're calling. They're calling to come in.
they're like clear. No, I guess the hunters have to go
Oh,
first.
there's trap
so-
ready.
Yeah. Hunters go flare front. And,
So you can just
I'm just
claim it if you
classic
have to.
fashion. I don't have a FAP on me, and I'm stuck in a route.
I'm surprised you guys aren't all wearing lightning helmets. I guess
Now we're rocket helming.
the rocket
Or
helmet.
we rocket helm sapper.
The rocket helmet gives you like a huge speed boost too, because you can jump ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You rocket helm forward and then sapper them.
Oh, you guys did down the chain too. That was the safe way. You never want to risk it. Even though like
Yeah, we
late
hold here and
phase,
make
you
sure that
do it.
everybody gets in, and then we go.
It's
Yeah.
it's a war, dude. It's a war. You're trying to take over.
I think
this
maybe we're
spot.
protecting. I'm not sure in this situation because we're not going.
You have
went down the
full
chain.
world buffs, so
Yeah,
you just have TFT.
yeah. Maybe I was just doing dire maul.
Right, good shit.
That's
Times. We'll link. Do you have that uploaded to YouTube?
No, that's a local file. That's nowhere. That's exclusive.
Zombie exclusive. Okay. Well.
We should spot the you, Jordan.
Yeah, no, we're good. So I think that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for being here for the second episode of the Full 10 podcast. We are going to be here next week with a guest who has a ton of Titan Reforged experience. Jake and Bake. He has the legendary dagger, which seems kind of interesting. We're going to learn about that and what's going on with GDKPs in China. And I'm very excited to hear about what he's learned as an American player from the way that China plays, and what we should adopt. Because I think there's a lot of stuff that they do better than this in terms of organizing players. So I'm
Everything.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But yeah, Ampi, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we're
Really
brother.
kind of you.
Yeah,
And
fun.
it was fun. I appreciate it. The this video will go up tomorrow for the live viewers if you guys want to catch that. And if you have any like criticism, hit us up on the Discord. We are very eager to improve. We just have like a ton of little things we're trying out. If you guys like it. I know it's a little bit cringe sometimes, but
Boring. They need to improve a lot. That was boring content. I thought that they would be talking about plus way more than they do.
Hey, if you're new here, welcome to Empire Locked. We're leveling this warrior all the way to level 60 using only crafted gear. And to make it even crazier, he's not allowed to craft any of that gear himself. Every piece he wears has to come from his empire of support characters. So let's go chase our biggest challenge yet, Empire Locked. It's finally time to open up these trunks, and I've been waiting for this moment. Because these things can be huge for Empire Locked. You could literally pull all types of stuff from them. You get bolts of cloth, leather, potions, random green items, all types of crafting materials, even things that we can use later on in the challenge. But there's really only one thing I care about right now, and that's medium leather. We only need 2 pieces of medium leather to finally craft the king's next big weapon upgrade. And after everything we've been through trying to get this stuff, I need those trunks to come through. So this part's super fun. It kind of reminds me of like scratch off tickets because you never know what's going to be inside these trunks. So let's start opening them. First trunk looks pretty good, but no medium leather. Second trunk, still no leather. Third trunk, let's go! We got medium leather and a green item. That's why I love doing this, because you really never know what you're gonna get. Let's keep going, see if we can get that second medium leather. So we're a few trunks in. It's not looking good so far. Let's cross our fingers. And there we go, we got it. We got all the medium leather that we needed. But let's not stop there. Let's continue to open up every single one of these trunks and see what we got. Last pack magic. Alright, so we did pretty good, I'd say. Now let's go ahead and assess the situation. We got our 2 medium leather. Actually, by the time I opened up all the crates, we ended up with plenty of it. And we also got a ton of other materials from these trunks as well.
I got the best deal anywhere.
Now, technically, the smart Empire Lock move would probably be keep every single piece of material that I got from these trunks, and eventually I could use them for something that I'm crafting, but there's one little problem. With all these mailbox taxes, we are broke. And I'm not kidding. When you have this many characters and they all need new profession skills, recipes, abilities, and training, the money disappears so fast. So as much as it hurts me to do it, I'm pretty much selling everything. That medium leather though, that's not going anywhere. I sent it straight over to Blades Trolling because it was finally time. It really took us a long time to get to this moment. We tried to level up a hunter specifically to fish up materials like this, but as you've seen, that didn't work out. Rest in peace to Blades Hunts. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten. But after all that, Blades Trolling finally had everything he needed. And the Empire crafted the heavy copper broadsword. And look at this thing. This is a massive upgrade for the king.
It is ready!
sent the sword over to him along with the rune copper belt and some rune copper bracers. But before we logged on to the king, I wanted to check out our leatherworker and see if there was anything else I could upgrade for him. And there was. We crafted a fine leather cloak and some embossed leather boots. And before you say it, I know leather boots on a warrior doesn't exactly scream, I'm the king. Normally, I want everything to be mail armor, but these boots give us +2 stamina and +2 spirit. And right now, those stats are going to help us a lot more than just having a little bit of extra armor from some plain mail boots. So I sent those over too. And now the shipment was ready. The king opened his mailbox and there it was. His biggest and most important shipment yet.
It's time. But first, I must learn how to wield a sword.
Yeah, we finally crafted this thing and the king doesn't even know how to use it yet. So there was only one place we needed to go. But first, I equipped the boots and the belt and then the cloak. But we don't really like how this looks. So we're gonna go to the settings and we're gonna hide cloak. And that looks much better. Now we're off to a very long, epic journey. I got off the Zeppelin and now I'm making my way to Undercity. I found the Weapon Master
I am forsaken.
and finally learned two-handed swords.
Our time will come.
And now, just look at him. He's finally starting to look like a full-on warrior. And I'm not gonna lie, this sword looks so sick. But looking cool doesn't mean anything if the weapon sucks, so we had to test this thing out. I quickly ran outside of Undercity and found some cursed dash hounds to practice on. Obviously, our sword skills was starting from pretty much nothing, so at first we had to get comfortable swinging this thing. But once the skills started adding up, now we're doing some serious damage. I'm two-shotting pretty much everything. Once I started getting comfortable with this thing, I wanted to push it a little bit further. I pulled multiple and we dropped them like flies. The king officially has a sword. Now that the new weapon is handled, I hearth back to the barons because we had another big goal for the day. I wanted to enter Ragefire Chasm at level 16, so we still had some work to do. I started taking out some razor mains. And it really didn't take me long before, ding, level 15. And while I was out questing, I found something else I've been waiting for. Our first 10 vein, and you guys already know the rules. First we mine, then we craft. I then turned in all my quests, grabbed another batch of them,
What do you need?
and headed back to kill the centaurs.
Down.
And this is where things get a little bit more sketchy. I got a little too comfortable, I pulled more than I probably should have, and decided, nope, we're out of here. In hardcore, one mistake, and that's the end. And I'm not playing around with this quest right here, because before I even started Empire Locked, I had a character die doing this exact quest. So every time I'm over here, I have that in the back of my mind. I finished those quests safely, sold off all my junk, and headed toward Ratchet to turn in more quests.
Time is money, friend. What up?
And since I was there, you already know, I had to do a little fishing break. At this point, I noticed I was actually getting really close to level 16. So I killed one of these Seasiders, and ding! There's level 16. Now I could feel pretty comfortable doing RFC. And a little secret, guys, I don't know if I told you before, but I've never played a warrior ever. So that means I've never tanked in a dungeon, so things later on could get pretty interesting. After I hit level 16, I headed back to do a little bit more fishing, and I found some Briarthorn. You know, I can't just walk past free materials that I actually need, so I grabbed it. Now back to fishing. At this point, every single floating wreckage I saw, I was hitting. Because after seeing what those trunks did for us earlier, I wasn't passing these things up. I fished for about 45 minutes and ended up pulling 6 more trunks, so of course, we had to open them.
Glad I could help.
I got some more materials, sold everything I didn't need, and after being completely broke for what feels like forever, the Empire's sitting pretty now. We got 2 gold, 31 silver. So, for this level, we're pretty much rich. Well, until I need to train my abilities. I also went ahead and sent over all the BOEs to Zomblades so he could disenchant them instead of just wasting them and sending them to the vendor. If you didn't know, BOE stands for Bind on Equip, which means if you equip it, you're stuck with it, you can't send it to anybody else. So in this series, if it's a BOE, it's getting sent to Zomblades. With the king officially level 16, there's one thing that I really needed to do, so I ran back to Orgrimmar. I trained all my new level 16 abilities, and this king right here was getting stronger. Our weapon was upgraded, we had some money in the bank, RFC, here we come. But before we take the king into Ragefire Chasm, the rest of the Empire has a little bit of work to do. So now, it's Zomblade's turn. He had a mailbox full of shipments from the rest of the Empire, and almost all of them were BOEs that I was going to disenchant. This is exactly why I've been saving them instead of vendoring them. We ended up with a nice little stockpile of strange dust and lesser magic essence, which we're definitely going to need for some upgrades later. Next, I hopped onto Bladesmon. With the king getting ready for his first dungeon, I wanted to make sure he had every advantage possible. So she crafted up a few lesser healing potions and I sent them straight over. It's not much, but this is hardcore. A little healing potion could literally be the key that keeps the king alive. Then I logged on to Blades the Cow because our blacksmith needed love too. I crafted Blades Trollin some embossed leather pants and sent them over along with a new pair of leather boots. And the king had a shipment waiting for him too, a whole bunch of copper and some tin ores. I equipped the new gear and look at him. Blades Trollin is really looking like a rogue now. But looking like a rogue isn't enough, because this guy's been carrying a huge part of the Empire on his back, and every time the king needs a new piece of metal armor or weapon, this is the guy who makes it. So I learned journeyman mining, ran over to the blacksmith trainer and checked out some of the upgrades coming up. I smelted all the tin and copper into bronze, and I even made a few silver bars. When I looked through the upcoming recipes, there was one weapon that caught my eye. The big bronze knife. That would be a massive upgrade for Blades Trolling. And if he's gonna keep carrying the load that the king's putting on him, he's gonna need it. There's just one problem. Our blacksmithing wasn't a high enough level yet. And I noticed Blades Trolling was getting pretty close to level 11, so I ran back to Duratar, killed one unlucky boar, and ding, level 11. For now, I'm dumping all my talent points into improved Sinister Strike. And with all that handled, it was time to get back to work, because I needed some copper, and a lot of it. Blacksmithing is one of the harder professions to level up. I basically did a giant mining loop around Duratar, grabbing every vein I saw. Copper, and even more copper. I probably spent about an hour doing this maybe, but eventually my bags were packed full, so I sprinted back, turned in a few quests, sold off all the junk I've been collecting, and then headed back to Orgrimmar. I smelted down everything I mined and started crafting rune copper belts just to squeeze out those last few blacksmithing levels. 98, 99, and finally 100 blacksmithing, which meant we could finally learn that big bronze knife. I grabbed everything I needed out of my bank, and while I was there, I noticed something else I could make. Rough bronze leggings that had 5 stamina and 4 spirit, which would be a super nice upgrade for the king. So I crafted those first and immediately sent them over. Then it was finally time for Blades Trolling's new weapon, the big bronze knife. I crafted it, looked at it, and then finally realized it required level 15, and I'm only level 11. So you know what that means. It's time to level. But before I went anywhere, I finally learned first aid, and honestly, every member of the Empire should probably have first aid. Then I made myself some linen bandages, because Blades Trolling had some unfinished business. Fizzled. The king already managed to solo him, now it's the blacksmith's turn. And if you ever fought Fizzle solo around this level, you know the fight itself isn't actually the hardest part, it's getting him alone. So I started clearing everything around him. I waited for Fizzle to walk away, and I pulled one of the cultists. But that aggroed the Voidwalker and another mob, and that was not what I wanted to do. So I immediately backed up, created some distance. The original cultist ran back, but then I attacked the Voidwalker, so at least I could get rid of one less mob. I took him down, went straight for the Burning Blade Apprentice. She was trying to hit me with a Shadow Bolt, so I gouged her to interrupt it, got behind her, backstab. During this fight, my health was getting pretty low, and I'm not gonna lie, I started to get a little bit nervous, but little by little, I got her down and wiped her out. There we go, that was one problem taken care of, and that was a little bit closer than I wanted. So I waited for Fizzle to move again, and I absolutely nuked his right-hand man. Then I cleared the mob on the other side. And while I was waiting for Fizzle to move again, you already know I'm not leaving this copper here. So I mined it. And just a little bit of advice, guys. If you're gonna try to solo Fizzle like this, the biggest thing is patience. Don't rush it. One bad pull could turn into 3 mobs very quickly. So just wait for Fizzle to move, clear them out one more time, and make yourself a clean fight. I went for the last Burning Blade Fanatic and accidentally pulled Fizzle too. So I thought to myself, nope, I'm getting out of here. Then I gathered my thoughts, reset the fight. One problem was I must have been getting too patient because one of the mobs reset, so I had to clear him again, but eventually there was nobody left. Just me and Fizzle and his imp, so let's do this thing. I opened up with a backstab and absolutely destroyed his imp. Now time for Fizzle. Sinister Strike, Sinister Strike, Sinister Strike. Gouge, got behind him, backstab, he tried to run and now he's done. Fizzle is down, we got the claw and Blades Trollin survived. On my way back to Razor Hill, I knocked out some more quests in Duratar and I hit level 12. I found the Rogue Trainer and learned my new abilities. One of the big ones here was Kick. So now, if someone tries casting something nasty on us, we could shut that down. I then leveled my first aid some more, learned heavy linen bandages, and then decided it was time to do something I've been dreading. Because there's only one place in Duratar that's already taken an Empire member from us. Skull Rock. If I haven't said it for the 100th time already, I hate this place. But thankfully, this time we're on a rogue, so we have stealth, and I can take things a lot slower. I cleared the first couple fanatics around the entrance, and slowly worked my way towards the back of the cave. Now I saw him. For a second, I thought about risking everything right here. So I gave him the meanest mug I possibly could have. While doing that, I pulled him. He tried to cast a Shadow Bolt my way. So I decided, you know what? Not today. But I will be back. It's not worth throwing all this hard work I put in on this character right now. So I already got what I came for. I finished the Searing Collar quest and got out of Skull Rock alive. And on my way out, I ran past this poor fella and thought to myself, things definitely could have been worse. I turned in the quest chain, and that's when I saw someone looking for a DPS for Ragefire Chasm. Now Blades Trollin still has some leveling to do before he can use that new copper dagger. So I logged back on to Blades the Orc for this RFC run. That's pretty much free XP, if we can pull it off. So I threw on all my upgraded gear while I waited for the invite. To be honest, I'm not going to spend too much time on this run, because this isn't the RFC run we've been waiting for. I wanted the King's real first RFC run to be as a tank, and I've never tanked a dungeon before. So this is just a little bonus for the Empire. It's probably better this way anyways, so I could get a little bit of knowledge going through this if I'm going to tank. We burned through RFC, finished the run, and turn in some of the quests. I flew over the Thunder Bluff to turn in the RFC quest. And then headed back to Ratchet. And who do I run into? My buddy Wicked Sins. We decided to knock out the South Sea quest together and pretty much wipe out their entire camp. But then, at the corner of my eye, I saw the floating wreckage. And you know, I had to hit it. I pulled up a few tightly sealed trunks, and at that point, the questing mission temporarily became the fishing mission. because these trunks been way too good for us. I fished a while, killed a few more seaside mobs, and eventually, ding, level 17. And then one of these guys dropped a small pearl. I don't need it right this second, but there's definitely some future recipes that the Empire could use. Wicked Sins already had plenty, so he let me hit need on it. Then we killed another mob on our way out, and you're not gonna believe this, but another pearl. So I took it. I headed back to turn in some quests, and then I cracked open the few trunks that I fished up. We actually pulled one of the recipes for Red Linen Robe, but Zomblades already knew it, so that one's not doing much for us. But we also got some materials in an 8-slot bag.
What's up?
I banked anything useful, then I sold off all the junk, and I mailed over all the greens to Zomblades for disenchanting. But I just remembered hitting level 17 unlocked something way more exciting for the king. Shoulders. The Empire can finally craft its very first shoulder piece. So I logged back into Blades Trolling. I crafted a few more copper belts to push my blacksmithing up. And at 110 skill, we learned rough bronze shoulders. I grabbed the materials out of the bank, crafted them up, and shipped them straight over to the king. While I was here, Blades Trolling was also getting pretty close to level 13, so I killed a couple mobs and dinged. I put 2 more talent points into Improved Gouge, giving us a little bit more time to get behind the enemies when we set up for that backstab. Now it was time to mail them shoulders out to the king. And when the king opened that shipment, look at him now. This dude is looking like a straight up juggernaut. We went from piecing together some copper gear to this. And every single piece he's wearing has came from the Empire. I ran over to Undercity to turn in the last RFC quest.
You think you can match the might of a Dreadlord?
And then while the king made his way back to Ratchet, the Empire kept working. Blades the Cow learned Fine Leather Tunic, which gives us another really nice upgrade. I also started looking ahead of some of the leatherworking upgrades that we'll be able to use in the future, just to see what we're working towards. Zomblades had another shipment of full greens waiting on them, so I disenchanted everything, learned a few more recipes, and with that, the Empire done pretty much everything they could for the king right now. I logged back on to Blaze the Orc and did a little bit more fishing while I waited. Because this whole episode, I've been preparing for one thing. The king's first real dungeon run. And like I said earlier, I've never tanked in a dungeon before. Not in classic, not in hardcore. And definitely not on a warrior. About 15 minutes of fishing goes by, and the invite pops up. The RFC group is forming. I squeezed in a few more casts while everyone was making their way over, pulled up the last couple trunks, and then it was time. I hurried back to Ratchet, put everything I didn't need in my bank, made sure I had plenty of room in my bags, and flew to Orgrimmar. We spent this entire episode making the king stronger. We got that awesome new weapon, new armor, potions, bandages, new abilities, everything that the Empire could give him. Now, we find out if it's enough. Because this is the first time ever the king is tanking in Ragefire Chasm. I met up with the group, and honestly, this already looked like it's gonna be a super fun run. But before we went in, I had a little surprise for everybody. All that fishing I've been doing actually given us a pretty nice little supply of Rumsy Rum. So I started passing them out to everybody, The regular Rumsy Rum gives you plus 5 stamina for 15 minutes, and that could be a game changer. Having 1 life, I'll take a little bit of extra health, especially when I'm about to be tanking for the first time ever. Try Again also hooked me up with a minor health stone for those just in case moments. I gave Yeet Sapper a Rumsy Rum Black Label, which gives you plus 15 stamina, and I figure since he's the other one doing the melee, he would need that extra health. Then I also passed another rum over to Dark Rising. Everybody drank up, and now it's time to get this party started. We took out our first Earth Boar and started making our way deeper into RFC. And Ragefire Chasm is actually a pretty crazy place when you think about it. This giant network of volcanic caves sits directly underneath Orgrimmar, and while the Horde is going about their business right above us, the Burning Blade has basically been operating right underneath the city. So our job is to get down here and clean this place out. And right now, we got our first real pool. I shoot the Ragefire Trogs to bring them over, and here comes everybody else. Alright, we got a few mobs, so this is tanking, I guess. Like I said, I've never done it before, and at this level I found out holding threat as a warrior can be a little rough. Everybody in the group starts blasting these mobs, and I'm trying to grab the threat off them. And I'm pretty much learning as we go, but honestly, that wasn't too bad. Nobody died, so I'm gonna count that as a successful pool. We kept moving our way deeper into the dungeon, and something completely unexpected happened. The Elixir of Minor Agility recipe dropped, and that thing is going to be huge for the Empire. This drop right here is the kind of drop that makes this challenge so much fun. The king can't just go out and buy whatever consumables he wants, but now I'll send this recipe over to Bladesmon, and once she makes these, the Empire has a permanent potion we can supply ourselves with. So for most, that might just be a regular drop, but for me, that was a big pickup. But now, we're off to our first boss, Flint. Let's see how it goes. And seriously, if you guys actually know how to tank on a warrior, leave me some tips in the comments down